All right, Jacob, let's take a look at your late essay. MLA format first, so we have this is right, except the 19 goes before the April 2016. All was lost. Doesn't quite look centered. You want to make sure that that is centered for sure. Intriguing title. Let's see how it works as we read through the paper. All right, so you kind of jump right into the topic a little bit here, and then eventually you go on to put a very negative spin on your experience, negative and irritating moments that I hope I learned to forget. Uh, so maybe do a better job of setting up why it's so negative before you get to it. Like, I know you're going to do that in the body too, but it seems like kind of a dramatic shift from the beginning to the end here. Anyways, maybe think about a better way to lead into that moment. This is a throwaway sentence. I like meat and potatoes. That's a nice use of figurative language, but it doesn't actually help. This whole sentence doesn't help your case. Through my high school years leading up from freshman to senior year, comma, use years twice in there though. Maybe just say from freshman to senior year, comma, my experience in the Elma soccer program showed me that the obstacles put in front of me will always be difficult to overcome. Here's what I would caution you on this. It's not a bad thesis, except I'm afraid that in your body paragraphs, every body paragraph is going to be, yeah, this is hard to overcome. Yeah, this is hard to overcome. I'm really hoping you learned a little bit as you were doing it, so we'll see how you relate that thesis in as the narrative progresses. All right, so you talk a little bit about your freshman year. It's not a super long paragraph, and I don't think there's a lot of. I mean, I want to see. You said that you thought it was going to be like the jocks in the movie, but you never really say whether it was or not. So, was there any hazing? Was there anything that happened to you? Did people talk to you about your sibling, and that's why you got kind of excluded? I don't know. You do have a couple fragment sentences. This is a fragment sentence. There's another one in here. Anyways, this is a fragment sentence. So go back through and look at those fragment sentences and figure out how to. Both of these you can just combine them with the last sentence. Maybe not exactly just get rid of the period, but you can combine them. Some comma errors here. As a new player to the Elma High School soccer program, comma, game after game, comma, this being said, comma. So make sure you add some commas in there where they need to go. But again, reflect back now. What was it like? Watching him. I mean, your thing is about disappointment. Talk about your disappointment, and you do. I mean, you talk about discouragement, but talk about never wanting to practice when you were a varsity team member. Did that make sense to you? Why, you didn't practice, or what? And I think you need some more explanation there. Make sure that you have a transition here. It's not the strongest transition. Certainly, maybe something along the lines of my freshman year I was stuck on the bench, but my sophomore year I don't know, something to get that audience moving. All right, one thing I forgot to mention too. So you were an incoming freshman, which is fine, but they would jump us freshmen. So when it's plural, when it's more than one of you, then it's freshmen. When it's yourself, it's freshman. And if it's ever used as an adjective, the freshman players, it's always freshman. So make sure you fix that. Okay, so you have your sophomore season and being promoted to varsity. This sentence you use the word team 3 times, so you might want to figure out a different way to say some of those things. So you get along, you don't not get along with the captain who doesn't, pass it to you, and no matter how hard you try, he got beneath your skin. Here's where details would come in. What would he do to get beneath your skin? You talk a lot about negativity and people squawking at each other, but what did he really do to get underneath your skin? Maybe add that in there too. So it would blame the lower class man for the goal. I don't know what that means. You might want to add, figure that out and add some detail there because I'm not sure what you mean there. What did the coach think about this? Maybe there's another detail that you can add in. The captain was a giant jerk face, but what did the coach do to maybe stop any of this or try to suppress some of it? I don't know. Add something in there that could help realize this. And actually, now that I think about it, I think I know who that captain was now. Interesting. Anyways, and if it's who I'm thinking of, I kind of understand. Even working through it got me nothing. Again, the disappointment set in. You're going back to your thesis, but it's not. I warned you at the beginning. It's just going to turn in. Oh, I was disappointed. Oh, I was disappointed. Reflect back. Reflect back, Jacob. What are you learning about all this negativity that surrounded? How did this change you later on when you became a senior? So, anyways, think about that. You need a strong transition to move into your junior season. All right. So now your junior year. We need stronger topic sentences. Make sure that you have a strong topic sentence. When you start off here, I want to know sort of the message of this junior year, other than it was a bummer, but now it's a bummer because you feel like you're getting passed up. Before it was an individual player, now it seems like the coach is now passing you up, so figure out a way to do that. I was now a second-year varsity player, comma, so I was expecting lots of playing time because etc. You might want to combine those two sentences. It seems kind of awkward with them separated. Even the freshman swing player, so use freshman right there, was getting more time than myself on the field. Here's where I'm not sure what happens. Why would I work so incredibly hard, etc. I mean, your senior year technically is right here, but this feels like as part of your senior year too, because you're talking about being a senior as a future senior class, so it must be at the end of your junior year you got together and talked. But this seems strange to me, and maybe they just announced captains way early in soccer, I suppose. But a third-year player gets announced as team captain over all the other seniors who have been there for all 4 years. So you might want to go back and look at that. I think this just needs to be, maybe chronological. It might be in chronological order, but it's really, give us a placement. So at the end of the soccer season, a third-year player was announced, something like that. Eventually, comma, when you start with those adverb clauses or adverb introductions, make sure you put a comma in there. You need a transition into the next one, so make sure you have that transition. Finally, comma, my senior year came. You need a stronger topic sentence because this is essentially getting to it. It didn't start how you wanted it to, but it changed somehow. So what's that strong topic sentence? So then you talk about your injury your senior year and what you had to go through. Make sure numbers up through 11 that you spell out. Every time I pivot on my right foot, comma, I thought I was going to fall down. So make sure you get those comma errors fixed. Later, comma, they told me I broke the 4th metatarsal in my foot. This was not good news. When you get a low score, Jacob, on your voice, this is things I would point to and say, you could really probably increase your vocabulary and really do something different with phrases like that. So figure out ways to do that. You talk about being devastated, which is fine. Time went slow. Try to use maybe some figurative language. I don't know. Use some figurative language maybe to figure that out. It's as slow as watching paint dry, which is a really huge cliche, so don't use that specifically. But so I did show some of my anger back at Ithaca, and let's just say I came off the field swearing. Now, here is where you actually get into some reflection. I feel as if I've wasted time playing soccer. Perhaps I could have shined a little brighter elsewhere. Here's where I'd love for you to have some reflection and talk a little bit about looking back, what would you have done differently? What could you have done differently? So I need more of this in all the body paragraphs. This is a run-on sentence, and you have another one right here is a run-on sentence. The pain did not. Oh boy, the pain did not go away. It got worse. These are two complete thoughts, so you got to fix those as well. So you start repeating your thesis statement, your conclusion, which is fine, and then you go ahead and go over your main points. This is, while not, I wouldn't say it's not too long. This is a lot to take in as far as your main points. and there's only 4 of them. What you do have here, which hurts you, is you have a lot of short, choppy sentences because you're trying to cover a couple things from each paragraph in 2 short sentences. So I'd work on really creating some longer sentences here. You get to the end. This is where, I'm not as worried as much with, you have to obviously review your main points. But when you get here, this is what I want to be longer. I want you to ease the audience out of this paper. You wait to the very end to add your quote, which obviously should have been in the beginning of the paragraph as well. And then you can't just end on a quote. What does it mean to you or your life or whatever? And I mean, this should be pretty significant to you, so really remark on it and end on a good clincher. No works cited page, which is going to hurt your score overall. So Jacob, definitely some things that you can fix here organizationally, voice wise, and punctuation wise. So looking forward to a rewrite.